Welcome back. Now, earlier today, Israel bombed a UN-run school sheltering displaced Palestinians, killing at least 9 people. This now speaks of a much bigger picture, and that picture is that 60% of the 42,000 civilians that have been killed in Israel's genocide in Gaza has been that of children. Every day, if you open your phones and go to the various social media apps, you will find that it's children that continue to bear the brunt of Israel's aggression. And their rights as children continue to be denied due to this bombardment, carnage, and non-accessibility of what children need in the universal rights of the world, which is water, food, shelter, and a safer environment. Joining us now, I'd like to welcome somebody who's been on the show before. That's Khaled Quzmar, who is the Director General of Defense for Children International in Palestine. Khaled, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you very much. Alaikum salam.
Khaled, I think you see it more often than not. You interact more often than not. That it's the children that continue to bear the brunt. It's the 60% of the 42,000 that have been massacred, the children that bear the brunt. And part of South Africa's memorial really spoke of that, the fact that Israel continues to target schools, facilities that have mostly children in it.
Thank you very much for the sharing and raising this very important issue. Unfortunately, the situation in Gaza is genocide continuous since more than 1 year. Israel closed their eyes and they are not care about the international community reaction. So the genocide is continuous. Now they pushed us to deal with children as numbers. Only accounting how many children they killed every day, and unfortunately the number is even increasing, those who are attacked. There is, according to the UN officials, they said and they declared that there is no safe space in Gaza. Gaza become the graveyard for the children, war against children, Israeli war against children. So children are targeting in the full meaning of targeting. Why they are targeting children? Because the genocide is focused more and more on children and in women's. This is why the high percentage of the victims are women and children, which more than 70% of those who are being killed. We are unable to just to account how many children being killed until now. The numbers is increasing every day. We are hearing about tens every day without any reason, without doing anything. They've been targeting everywhere, in schools, what called shelters places, in the streets, in the hospitals, everywhere they've been targeting the children and their mothers.
And Khaled, of course, the fact that the UN runs schools, this is the UN, it's the United Nations. These are schools that are continuously being bombed. Israel makes this claim that obviously it's hiding quote-unquote operatives of Hamas. Still today, they still can't prove that that's the case. Hospitals are being bombed. Just last week, we saw the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital continuously being bombed. The Kamal Adwan Hospital continues to be bombed. These are sheltering children, babies that are, number one, either being born, or children that are being treated for exact trauma, pains, burns that are being executed by Israel. The fact that these facilities are being bombed speaks quite loudly of the intent to really go ahead and punish the children for this genocide.
Yes, this is the Israeli policy since years and years of the occupation, more than 76 years of occupation. So they do what they would like to do, and the lies and the propaganda is there. So they claim that there were Hamas fighters in that place, and we targeted the Hamas fighters. And at the end, the result is so clear that the numbers who being killed are children and their mothers and old people. Unfortunately, Gaza now under siege since more than 1 year. Even the journalists who are trying to reflect part of the suffer of the killing in Gaza, they've been targeted. The number of the journalists that have been killed, more than 186 journalists according to the last statistic. So UN officials, international organizations are denied to be in certain places. So Israel do the crime, and there is only Palestinians who are talking about the result of the attacks, but Israel usually saying that yes, they are Palestinian, they are just covering and they are supporting Hamas, then they've been legally targeted. All these attacks are considered as a core part of the genocide that they are committing, and unfortunately, the failure of the international community to stop Israel on committing the genocide, it's opened their mind to continue the genocide, not only even in the Gaza, in the West Bank, and now we are seeing what is happening in Lebanon also. What is happening now in Lebanon is as a result of the failure of the international community in Gaza and in the West Bank.
Khaled, UNRWA has been quite an important part of assisting many refugees within Gaza, be it either the north, the south, or central. There were reports indicating that the Israeli Knesset were meeting to go ahead and decide the fate of UNRWA. One would assume that they're going to vote, because given who makes up the Knesset, it's mainly members of the Likud party, which are Benjamin Netanyahu, and those of the right-wing members, the Ben Givs and the Smotriches. It's obvious that they're going to go ahead and say, shut down UNRWA. UNRWA has been such an important and vital cog to assisting Palestinian children. Officially shutting it down, this either, number one, will be a spit in the face of international law, but this will really cripple the children of Palestine, won't it, in terms of accessing of aid and just the general stuff that they need to survive, barely survive, in that war zone right there.
Yeah, we are facing the fascist government in the history of Israel. So they are not care about the life of the Palestinian. Even they never consider the Palestinian as a human being. They consider them a human animals. And this is the result of this kind of inciting inside their community and with the Israeli army fighting against human animals, then go ahead with no limit by killing, destroying, without any accountability. This is why we see the result. Targeting children are targeting the future of the Palestinians. Targeting women is to eliminate the presence and existence of the Palestinians. So this is actually the elements of the crime of genocide. And this is put us in a place that we have to push more and more in order to put into the genocide. Unfortunately, until now, the complicity with the Western states, the military support to Israel, the political support give Israel the power to continue these crimes. Israel is working according to the strategy to get rid of the presence of the Palestinian in Palestine.
Khaled, 2 weeks ago, I saw a video of a young little girl carrying her sister. I'm sure you saw it also. It was all over, various news agencies. She was in northern Gaza, and she's carrying her sister to try and get to a hospital. That moment right there, in terms of the video, speaks of the trauma that these children have faced, not just for 1 year, but over the occupation of Gaza. The fact that Gaza has been this open-air prison for 20, 30, 40 years. the generation, the future generation of Gaza, which are the children, the trauma that they're experiencing, I think both you and I think everyone would agree with us that it's going to take a very long time for them to get over it. How do these children find a way to see a brighter future, given that it's been a year of brutality and bombing, and that they only see negativity, they only see destruction, they only see carnage? For somebody who works with organizations dealing with children, how do you find that? How do you allow that to happen with all that is currently occurring?
Yes, I'm a father. I'm not a psychologist, but I have children. I know what's the meaning of having a little girl carrying her sister because she was injured and try to find a place to give her medical treatment. And of course, what we saw, the case of the little girl, is one of hundreds and thousands of stories in Gaza. But this case maybe been lucky that there was a journalist in that place and they show us. So this is part of the genocide in Gaza, the full meaning of genocide. I believe that those who are live under such circumstances since more than 388 days, under ongoing airplane attacks, warplane attacks, bombing through the tanks, bombing from the air, from the sea, from the land. So it's 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 30 days a month. So you cannot imagine how they are still alive and how much psychological treatment they are indeed. I believe that more than around 1 million children in Gaza, they are indeed for the emergency psychological intervention. Otherwise, they will get worse and worse. As I said, I'm not a psychologist, but I hear from many specialized in this field, and they are very much worried. But now, unfortunately, the children are in need not only for education, not only for medical treatment, not only for psychological treatment. They are in need for a piece of bread to keep survival, a cup of water, clean water. They are drinking the sea water. They are drinking wastewater. They are eating bad quality and quantity of bread. While we live under such called modern world, 21st century. So, unfortunately, I cannot imagine. It's beyond our imagination.
Khaled, as always, shukran so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much.
That's Khaled Quzmar, General Director of Defense for Children International in Palestine. He's based in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. The death toll continues to climb, and there are more lives of children being lost. That's the reality within Gaza. After the break, I'm going to speak to Ali Kumape from Africa for Palestine, Aaron Bayhak, who is alleged to have been part of the Israeli sniper unit of the IOF, is being investigated by the Hawks. We're going to speak about that after this break.